They were young, healthy, and fast asleep, and then they were dead. Over 100 men, all from the same region of the world, died suddenly in their sleep after reporting horrifying nightmares. No signs of violence, no suicide, just gone, and nearly all of them said the same thing before they died. Something was chasing me, something was trying to kill me in my sleep. This isn't folklore, it's not a scary story passed down through generations, it actually happened, and science still doesn't fully understand why. If you're into stories that sit on the edge of reality, part science, part mystery, all disturbing, hit that follow button, let's ride into the unknown together. The first report started surfacing in the early 1980s. Hmong refugees from Southeast Asia, many of whom had fled war and genocide in Laos, were resettling in the United States. They had survived jungles, military violence, and refugee camps, but the real terror came after. The men who died were young, most in their 20s or 30s. They were strong, no signs of illness, yet, one by one, they started dying. Always at night, always in bed, and many of them had told family members about terrifying dreams in the days leading up to their deaths. One survivor recalled, "My cousin said he could feel a heavy weight on his chest, like something was holding him down. He tried to scream, but nothing came out. He died that night." The phenomenon was so widespread that it caught the attention of the CDC, and what they found only deepened the mystery. The official name given to this terrifying pattern is sudden unexpected nocturnal death syndrome, SUNS. The term itself is sterile, cold, scientific, but the reality behind it? Nothing but. SUNS primarily affects Southeast Asian men, particularly from Laos, the Philippines, and Thailand. And while it's rare, when it strikes it's almost always fatal. Victims die in their sleep without warning, no struggle, no external trauma. The cause? Possibly a genetic heart condition, Brugada syndrome, that affects the electrical rhythm of the heart. But here's the thing. Many of the men who died had no prior symptoms, no history of heart problems, and for the Hmong community the explanation went far beyond the physical. In Hmong tradition there's a malevolent spirit known as tsog, a demonic entity that attacks victims in their sleep. It sits on the chest, paralyzing the dreamer, stealing their breath. Sound familiar? What we might call sleep paralysis, the Hmong view as a spiritual attack. And when these deaths began to increase, elders and shamans warned that the tsog had followed them to America. Victims often described a dark presence, a pressure on their chest, a sense of being watched or hunted in their dreams. Some even said they knew they were going to die before it happened. What do you do when your dreams start killing you? Some families began traditional rituals, offerings, spirit dances, chanting. Others turned to Western medicine, but the deaths didn't stop. This eerie phenomenon didn't just stay in the medical journals, it caught the attention of a man who would go on to change horror cinema forever, Wes Craven. In an interview, Craven revealed that Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by a real story about a young man who was terrified to fall asleep. He stayed awake for days. His parents begged him to rest. When he finally did, he died in his sleep. Craven took that real-life terror and turned it into Freddy Krueger, but the true story is even scarier. Because Freddy is fiction, the tsog, for many, it's real. There's another layer to all of this. The Hmong people who died weren't just adjusting to a new country. They had survived incredible trauma, war, starvation, genocide. Some researchers believe that this trauma may have triggered latent genetic conditions or created a kind of psychological storm, where fear, stress, and sleep all converged fatally. It's even been suggested that belief itself may play a role. If you believe a spirit is trying to kill you and you've seen it kill others, does that fear become real enough to end your life? That's the razor's edge between folklore and death, and it makes you wonder, what else can belief do? SUNS still occurs today, though rarely. And not just among the Hmong, isolated cases have been reported in other ethnic groups including Filipinos and South Asians. Some believe it's genetic, others say it's spiritual or cultural or psychological. But no matter how you frame it, the core truth remains. These were real people, they really died, and they were absolutely terrified to sleep. So, is it all just a tragic medical mystery? Or is there something darker hidden in our collective sleep, a shadow in the space between science and spirit? You decide. If you like this tale and you're into stories that twist the world just enough to make you question what's real, subscribe to Odd Rift. We're just getting started. More eerie, strange, and true stories are on the way, and if you've ever had a dream that felt too real, drop it in the comments. You never know who else has had it too. Until next time, sleep well if you can.